No title on this worksheet, but this would be what I call indirect measurement. Company's lesson 3-4 with us in course 3. I'll go over a couple of examples here. And again, whether the instructions tell you or not, if it's a word problem or just a picture drawn, we're trying to find the missing value. So number one, find the missing value, find the value of x. So that means I'm going to want to label with it. Remember, we're using similar figures where their corresponding sides are proportional, which means 1.5, 1.5 corresponds to the 2.5 side. Set it up this way, corresponding sides with the ratio, it will always work out the right way. Even on this problem, and I'll tell you what I mean by that in a moment. Next, pick another side that we know, the 1 9/10, and then that corresponds over here to x. Now we are set to go with a cross product. These guys, that one I can do. 1.5x equals this one though. That one I'm going to need a calculator on. That one gives us 4 7/75. Solve. Divide both sides by 1.5. And this one is a bad example. This one comes out as a repeating decimal. They should not come out to be repeating decimals. They should always come out to be something nice and terminating. So why this problem is set up with repeating decimal, I don't know. Something I should fix one of these times, perhaps on this worksheet. But that method with cross products work every time. Sliding to the right on number 2, there's another way to do it. You can just show me the work. If you already look at this and know, Mr. Walls, I know the answer is 15 feet. Wonderful. Don't just put in 15 feet. I don't know where that came from, whether that came from your neighbor, mental math, math print, whatever it might be. I need to see the work. So you can always set up the cross product, but if you're noticing that 8 times 3 gives us 24, well then by all means, you're right. Just show me that 5 times 3 gives you 15. Boom. It's enough work. If you don't see that, if you don't like that, cross products will always work. 8 over 24, 8, 24, 5 over x, 8x. Ooh. Excuse me, had a sneeze come in there that I think still might come out, but oh well, keep on and going. So we grab a calculator, multiply those on out, do mental math, but be very careful with your mental math. You get 120, divide that by 8, x equals 15 feet. Doesn't matter to me. Show me the work. If you see this, great. Put the times 3 and move on. If not, do the cross product. If you don't feel there's enough room here, try to give as much space as possible because I wanted to give as much practice as possible, but if there's not enough, go ahead and use a separate piece of paper and attach it with it. Please note, number 7, that's a word problem. You might have to draw a picture if you want to or just do the work. Number 8, same thing, word problem. You're welcome to draw a picture if you want to, or just show the work. But then if you need to, this is number 9. This is different, so I might do a little bracket like this, so that way I can remember. Number 7 is its own problem. Number 9 down here is its own problem as well. Same thing, 8 over here. 8's its own problem. So is number 10, its own problem. Flip to the back where we look at the classic one from our lesson where we only had to do it once in notes and barely once or twice on the assignment. Find the distance across the river, something you could really do in real life, whether for a job or just for recreation. This one, we're using similar triangles. Remember again, because we know that this is a right angle, that's one angle, and because this x here gives us vertical angles, we know that we have 2 corresponding angles congruent, Thus, or therefore, we know the third one will also be congruent, because mathematically, if these two are the same, the third one has to be the same for them to add up to 180 degrees, which means they're similar triangles. Because they're similar, we can then set up a proportion where 8 compares to 20. And again, coming here, 14 over some variable, I'm going to put the letter D. Notice I always start here, compare it to the corresponding side. If you flip-flop one of these, like if the 14 and the D get switched around, you're going to do great math and get the wrong answer. Speaking of flip-flop, here we go. Let's do our cross product and get those guys. Gives us 280. And then divide by 8, divide by 8, again, so that we're left with D equals 35. Please note, word problem, find the distance, find the unknown length, find the missing measure. So it's 35 meters across that river, across the water. You can see you have another one over here again. Careful on the setup that you get the right numbers in the right place. Last one that I want to do though, here, I'm going to slide on down. I'm going to do this one here. On a sunny day, a 6.5 foot ladder casts a shadow that is 19.5 feet. So if you're wanting to come on over here and draw out a little triangle so you can label things, you could put that anywhere you wanted. Then we got a man who is 6 2/10 feet tall. Cast a shadow that is some unknown length. I'll be boring and put the letter X in. How long is his shadow? Not often do we try to figure out how long a shadow is. Usually we're told that, or in life you might say, I don't really care how long a shadow is, but there could be some things, and I'll spare you for ideas that I actually came up with when I was making this video of when you might use the shadow or why you might be interested in the shadow, but we'll just set it up. Notice they're similar figures because they're both triangles. So starting here, I'm going to pick the first one, so 6.5 corresponds to 6 2/10. Go back to this one, which gets me 19.5 over some variable, which I'll call X. This way I can do 6.5X. This way, gonna need a calculator for that one. And then divide them on out. X equals 18.6. Notice again, 18 6/10 is what you get when you divide those on out. So that should be 120.9. I thought I was missing something there. 120 9/10. So that gives you 18.6, 18 6/10 feet. Make sure there's a label on it. Again, if there's not enough space back here on this page, go ahead and use a separate piece of paper. I tried to make it so that there was room. Again, giving you lots of practice on this. That's what we're looking at here with this worksheet. Again, doing both sides.